Welcome to the last episode of Raw before Extreme Rules. I don't know why I said episode. Anyway, am I interested in Extreme Rules? To a certain extent, no. The reason I have a problem with this going into Extreme Rules is that very little is talked about. And there are very interesting things going on, but Extreme Rules is a minor pay-per-view. And when it comes down to it, if they're going to push really hard to try and make it interesting, I have this bad feeling going beyond Extreme Rules, things are not going to get better. That's the way I'm seeing things. I'm seeing things from a long term, not a short term. When it comes to Shane McMahon being on the product, that is a short-term gain. It is not a long-term one. So let's get into this review and let's talk about the six-man tag. I could leave this for the end, but I'm not going to. Because this is one of the things that we're looking forward to. We're looking forward to the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match between AJ and Roman Reigns, and the match between the Usos and the Club, which is Luke and Carl of the Club. Here's the problem. They've touched too much. Don't get me wrong, seeing the opening with AJ Styles is actually very nice. I didn't expect them to open with AJ. Of course they did something before with AJ, but I didn't think they would actually open with him, all by himself. And he talks very well. But once I saw Roman Reigns come out, I knew that AJ was going to be minimized. And when you see the ending of this entire promo segment, AJ gets a smack to the face and rolls out of the ring like a bitch. This is what I said last week. They're touching too much. And when you see this match, the six-man tag, it just proves that I'm right. As much as the crowd, and this crowd was a good one. And they made the match not bad. The match wasn't bad. But the problem at the very end, that you see AJ, yes, he gets over, even though his team lost the match, just tells me that this is not going to be good going into Extreme Rules and beyond. Because unless they're going to pull the trigger on AJ winning that title, they've already blown their wad, seeing that the Club has lost to an Uso and a Jimmy Uso. I just feel like it just did not work for me personally. I'm hoping I'm wrong. But I just don't believe that the WWE is going to be heavily invested in AJ. They're just using him to try and get Roman over, which you already know. But here's the problem. The crowd really wants something more than just a Roman Reigns. And we don't have that many people working with Roman. AJ's it. And that's the sad part. Now, the shining stars coming from Puerto Rico. Primo and Epico, I have to admit, have been built pretty well. I did enjoy the promo segments. I did enjoy seeing Puerto Rico. In fact, I've never been there myself. I am part Puerto Rican, but for me, it doesn't really matter to me. And I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of heat for that, saying, you don't care about Puerto Rico? No. I grew up in New York. I grew up with my mom. My mom was a mixed black woman. It's not something I grew up with. Nothing wrong with it. I just didn't grow up with it. It's not something that's important to me personally. But it is good to see that Puerto Rico's being represented here. You got two Puerto Rican wrestlers who at one point was really just being themselves. Then they were two luchadors from Puerto Rico, where I understand that Puerto Rico had luchadors. But seeing them just being this, I think might get over. If they really emphasize Puerto Rico as their goal premise of making everything as great as Puerto Rico for themselves, I do believe it could get over by the crowd. For me personally, I feel ambivalent about it. I don't really care about it. I don't like it, but I don't unlike it. It's done well enough, at least at the beginning of this, that it could work. And you guys tell me below, that move they just pulled off, wasn't that the move that the Wolves were using in TNA? I'm not saying it's wrong to use it. I'm just saying I saw it first from the Wolves. That moves me on to another thing that reminded me of TNA, and that's the Dean Ambrose and Chris Jericho segment. Am I interested in this feud? Not really. Chris is doing a great job as a heel. He's getting a lot of heel heat. And I'm okay with that. Quiet, quiet, quiet. No problem. I can't point as much as he can because I'll be out of frame. But you get my point, just pointing, just saying quiet. Seeing that he's still talking about that $15,000, which is maybe a $300 or $400 jacket, is cool. Seeing that he wants his freaking money. I want my $15,000 and I want an apology now. It's okay. But like I said in my previous videos, if they made this against the Ambrose Asylum versus the highlight reel, and last pay-per-view, one of them had lost their opportunity to continue using it, would have made a better, I'm sorry, instead of Metter, maybe Mater from Cars. I guess maybe I'm thinking about that. I want to see that movie. Anyway, a better dynamic than what we have here. A $15,000 jacket may sound like it's an important thing to Chris as his legacy, but isn't the highlight reel a much more important legacy than a $15,000 freaking jacket that he almost lost it because of Dean Ambrose? And you guys tell me below, this Asylum match, doesn't it remind you of Lethal Lockdown? Now, there's nothing wrong if the WWE grabs something they believe might be a good idea. That's what they've been doing for years. And hearing a Asylum match compared to maybe Hell in a Cell will be a bit different. We don't normally see weapons on the top of the ring and top of the steel cage. We don't. We've never seen it. At least as far as I remember, the WWE's never done it. At least not in recent history. So at least it's something different. They're putting something in that they believe might actually have some merit. And the music that was played in the background while Dean Ambrose was explaining this to Chris was actually a nice touch. I did enjoy it. Now, Dana, how can I describe Dana Brooks without it sounding nasty? I don't mean like sexual. I just mean the way I look at Dana Brooks from NXT, I feel like she's like a little pit bull that's going to bite you and hold on and not let go. I think that's the best explanation I'm having for her. She's not a tall woman. When she did that little bit between Emma and Becky, I thought she was taller than she was, but she's actually kind of a little runt. No disrespect to her. Little women or little men can still beat the crap out of you. Look at a Wolverine. Wolverine will eat your face with his claws. Ah! But you get my point. The point here is she reminds me of a little pit bull that once she grabs you and bites into you, you're done. And when it came to this match, it felt like that. She felt like a pit bull. A dog that will bite you, that will hold on to you, not let you go until you can't move no more. And then decides to let you go. And in this match, she actually won. I don't have a really problem with that. But I do have a problem that Emma was not there. Emma's the one that's supposed to be getting over here, not Dana Brooks. I just didn't feel like that was right, that Emma was not there and Dana Brooks was there. We barely seen Emma. You guys tell me below how you feel about that. Because let's be honest, the Emma persona is actually a nice one. And I wanted to see more of her, and I'm not seeing it here. But that's just me. I gotta get this done. Golden Truth. I hate it. It was interesting only for a short time when it was only R-Truth going after Goldust. But then when they flipped the script and then brought people in, I didn't give a damn anymore. I do admit, when it comes to Fandango and Tyler Breeze, they actually make sense. You got the pretty boy dancing with the dancer. The Breeze Dango, I don't like the name. It would have been better if Tyler Breeze and Fandango just kept their name. Putting it like the Golden Truth was dumb. And I just don't have a care for the Golden Truth. I just don't. It's a stupid gimmick. I don't like it. Is it funny? No. It was at a very short time when it was only R-Truth going after Goldust. Now it is boring. It may have a few moments, but it's not as funny as the group that we're doing right now. It is New Day. Ow. maybe a little rough on myself. New Day is hilarious. No one liked this time machine segment. You need to reevaluate your sense of humor because it was funny. Seeing they bring out the time machine in a box was funny. Oh man, Biggie made that segment work. One, he said, no, we're not going there. This is just a refrigerator box. And is that the keyboard from your mom's house and dad's house? He said, yeah. Why is it sticky? That was funny. Then he says, we're not going there. We're not going there. But we went there. It was a funny segment seeing boom, 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 a little bit of Kofi Kingston none. You know I had to go back to 2009 where I was really famous and I was going against Randy Orton. Oh, damn it. I didn't do very well when up against Randy Orton. Thank goodness Xavier Wood pulled him back into the time machine and they went back to the old days where, one, there was no cell phones, just a big handle. Two, they had no video games. The only thing you had was just tennis. And three, the New Day was still going to be WWE World Heavyweight Champions until the Vaudevillains came and kicked their ass and destroyed the time machine. Oh, the DeLorean is now going. Wait, the New Day, the DeLorean time machine. I don't even know how to describe that name. That is a terrible name, but it's funny anyway. I'll say this. Did they hype me up for Extreme Rules in their match against the Vaudevillains? To an extent, yes. The Vaudevillains are very bland. They're not like Kaz and Enzo Amore. But they will do the job until Enzo recovers. And let's talk about Big Kaz and get it over with. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. He's over. Got no problem with him. He's not bad in the ring. I have no problem with him. But people believe that he can talk. Have a problem. I'm sorry. He's still not there yet. He's only talked by himself only in the last couple of weeks. And saying that he's okay. And I understand the Lex-Man had stated this himself in his videos that Big Kaz is not bad. And I do agree with him. He's not bad. But let's not say that he is great thing. He is not. He needs a lot of work by himself to actually talk better. He pauses too much. He still feels like he's trying to find himself. And to be honest, Enzo is really needed here. Because he's not talking badly. He's okay, but honestly, I just don't feel it. Everything else is okay. He's got the size, he has the look. He's okay generally in the ring as long as it's someone who's more experienced. That's the reason why they stuck him with the Dudleys. But I just don't believe this is his time yet. He's been thrown at the wolves right now and he's not ready. It's just showing. Give me a reason why I should like him. I'm sorry. I just don't. Now, life coach Bob Backlund. I didn't say anything last week because I kind of forgot about it because I have a lot of stuff on my mind as I've said. But do I like seeing Darren Young with Bob Backlund? Yeah. Is it a funny segment? To a point, yes. The question is going to be, eventually Bob Backlund and Darren Young must go to the ring. How far are they going to go with this team? It's kind of like what happened with Jack Swagger and Zed Coulter. But I feel like with Bob Backlund and Darren Young, it could work. But the question is going to be, how far are they going to go with it? Or is it just going to be stuck on the Titantron? I don't know, but let's move on from there. ADR versus Kalisto. I'm just going to make this brief. Why? Why? I just don't feel like Kalisto had a job here. And it's cool that he got the accolade put on him. He was bent backwards 7 days to Sunday. But he could have had that done without jobbing to ADR. Now, don't get me wrong. I like ADR still. I do believe they could be doing something more with him. But for Kalisto, who's almost got no traction in the U.S. title, I just don't feel like it was worth it. So I'm just going to go there. And the last thing I'm going to talk about, if I've forgotten anything, I'm sorry. That is the contract signing for the women's title. That is with the Natalya and the Charlotte. I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you gotta look at which woman has a better beautiful body and face, I admit that Natalya is way better looking. She has a way better body. You could almost say that she's the genetic superior of a Charlotte. Don't get me wrong, Charlotte is built well. She's a very muscular woman, but she is built more like a man. And that gives a greater dynamic in a wrestling match between a woman curvy like Natalya compared to a slender, built man-like woman of a Charlotte. But here's the thing. This is where I get confused. Was this supposed to be about Charlotte versus Natalya? Or this is supposed to be at Charlotte now getting angry at a Stephanie because she disrespected her dad and smacked the taste out of his damn mouth? I don't know where this is going. I mean, I understand Brent can't be there in every pay-per-view to really make this feud work because he's still dealing with the results of his chemotherapy and radiation to cancer. There's no way he's going to be able to do a long duration trip with his niece. He just can't. I don't believe he can, at least not now. He only just finished his radiation treatments or his chemo or both. So I understand why they're doing this, but it just feels like it should have happened after Extreme Rules. Doing it now, I feel like they just messed up the dynamic between Natalya and Charlotte. I just feel like they did. Unless they really believe that the best way to make this work with Charlotte and Stephanie is to do this early, and during Extreme Rules, Stephanie comes out and just causes more havoc. That's what I believe they're trying to go with this, but I just feel like it really messed up the dynamic, and I feel like Natalya's a pawn in this. That's the way I feel it. I just feel like this is the way it's going, and I just don't believe this is a good dynamic. So do I believe this was a good show? It wasn't bad. Did I enjoy most of it? Yeah. And I know I could have talked about the Intercontinental Championship. The only reason I'm leaving it out is because the dynamic just doesn't feel right to me personally. It should be 2-on-1, I mean not 2-on-1, 1-on-1 for that match. And I believe Cesaro should be the one that should be focused on. I just don't believe it's right for all four of them to be in it. I know people are probably liking it, but for me personally, I just like to see a 1-on-1 where Cesaro wins a title and not win it like this. But this is my point of view. How about you? And I hope you enjoyed the Zane's view. Please give me a comment below. I will be getting my TNA review out. I'm sorry about last week. I just couldn't do it because there was a lot going on. And I was kind of having a bad anxiety and depression. Still have it, but it's not as bad as it was last week. I'm okay, but it happens sometimes. Have a good day and have a good night. Peace!